Wow. It's already time to watch football again. Man. 6 months fly by quick, don't they? Yeah. Yeah, so yes, the NFL season begins tonight. And we're gonna kick off and I'm gonna kick off like I always do that. I'm gonna kick off the season like I've been doing, which is pick all the games for week one. And we'll see what and I'll see what happens after week one. But in any event, let's get started because I don't have time for this bullshit. Shit. All right, Chiefs kicking off the season at home to take on the Detroit Lions. The Lions are at the Lions are full of optimism, as is always the case, at least for like what for every 4 seasons or whatever the fuck. Fuck. At least it seems like that. Every 4 seasons. And the Chiefs, we all know what happened to them. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and Andy Reid got his second Super Bowl ring, and most likely the biggest cheeseburger he's ever fucking eaten. But anyway, the Chiefs are missing are going to miss a key player on defense, and but here's the thing: the Lions are going to miss a key player, one of their wide receivers on offense for 6 games, thanks to some gambling dispute, whatever the fuck. Quite frankly, don't give a shit. But go ahead and take the Kansas City Chiefs to defeat the Detroit Lions. I do not see the Chiefs going 0-1. But I am interested in what if Jared Goff. I am interested to see if the Lions and the Chiefs end up in a shootout. Wouldn't be the first time Jared Goff went on a shootout with the Kansas City Chiefs. Just saying. And next, all right, on to the early afternoon Sunday games. Panthers going on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons. Now, of course, the Panthers drafted a new young quarterback who's actually smaller than Kyler Murray, if that were possible. So it's now little football. It's the second little kid in the football costume now. Is that what's going on here? But anyway, the Falcons are going, and meanwhile for the Falcons, they made some moves in the offseason to where they can actually compete too, to win the NFC South, which isn't saying much because the NFC South is really fucking, the NFC South is really fucking horrible right now. But I'll go ahead and take the Atlanta Falcons because I'm not a firm believer in this Panthers team, not just in this game but for the entire season. Even in that shitty NFC South. I know they came close last year. That's not anything to fucking brag about, though. So, who cares? Next up, Texans going on the road to take on the Baltimore Ravens. And the Texans also drafted a quarterback out of Ohio State named C.J. Stroud. Will it be C.J. Stroud and proud? Who knows down the line. But in this game, I don't think so. And as far as the Ravens go, here's the deal. No more excuses for Lamar Jackson. They have wide receivers, even though they're not the best receivers, but they're still good enough for Lamar Jackson to not take off and run like he normally does. And Greg Roman's finally gone. So again, no more excuses for Lamar Jackson. Oh, and he got paid too, by the way. Yeah, forgot to add that part in there as well. But yeah, as far as this game goes, Ravens, end of story. Moving on quickly to the Bengals going on the road to take on the Cleveland Browns. And yes, people are still crying about the fact that Deshaun Watson is still that Deshaun Watson only received an 11-game suspension. Like, seriously, get the fuck over it. He served his suspension. What more do you want? And all he fucking did was ask, and all he did was want a few happy endings. There was nothing non-consensual going on. And even if there were, and all that shit, and I honestly don't want to get into that shit because I don't give a flying fuck, for one thing. And as far as this game goes, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns to win this game because the Cincinnati Bengals usually get off to a rough start early in the season. And plus, the Browns always beat the Cincinnati Bengals at home. So, at least it's been that way for quite a while now. All right, next up, Jaguars going on the road to take on the Indianapolis Colts. I like this Jaguars team. I think they are going to trend upwards. I'm not sure. However, I'm not necessarily sure that they'll beat the Colts. The only reason why I'll take the Jags to beat the Colts, even though it wouldn't shock me if the opposite happened, is because the Jaguars usually struggle in Indianapolis for whatever reason. Maybe it's due to the fact that that's a divisional game, but it is what it is there. So yeah, take the Jaguars, but wouldn't shock me to see the Colts win. All right, next up, the Buccaneers going on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings. This is Baker Mayfield. It's really Baker Mayfield's last chance to be a full-time NFL starter. Or just like it was Carson Wentz's last chance last season when he was with the Washington Commanders. And as far as the Vikings go, I believe they overachieved last year so much, but at least it balanced out at the end when they lost to the Minnesota Vikings, when they lost to the New York Giants. Excuse the fuck out of me. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll take the Vikings to win this game, but it wouldn't shock me to see the Buccaneers win this game. And the reason why I say that is because, listen, the Buccaneers finished 8-9 mainly because, yeah, Todd Bowles is a shit coach. That's why I'm not taking Tampa to win this one. But another factor is that Brady was really starting to show his age. You know, maybe he really should have retired after the 2021 season. I mean, yeah. But take the Vikings to win this game. Nobody's saying Baker Mayfield's great, but it is what it is there. Titans going on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints. The Titans are not. The Titans, all they're doing is just drafting quarterbacks in the second round to compete basically in the game of who wants to replace Ryan Tannehill after 2023. I'm not sure either quarterback is capable of doing that, but we'll wait and see. And as far as the Saints go, I find it funny that people, like I said, I find it funny that people are crying about Deshaun Watson not being suspended for a full season, but Alvin Kamara receives a dinky 3-game suspension and not a fucking peep. And for the record, I don't give a fuck. I don't necessarily care about the Alvin Kamara shit either. But I just find it funny that he only received a dinky suspension, and what Alvin Kamara did was way more serious than what Deshaun Watson did. You can cry all you fucking want. I understand it's not the fake moralist way for me to go, but you'll go fuck yourself. But as far as this game goes, I know Alvin Kamara is out, but take the Saints to win this game anyway, because, like I said, the Titans, they kind of stink. They kind of stink. They won't. They'll win some games. They'll probably hover around 500 when it's all said and done. But like I said, I don't trust them long term. All right, 49ers going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Nick Bosa just got paid handsomely. When I say handsomely, it's to the point where he's the highest paid defensive player in the NFL currently, which means the market will be reset, and then the next guy will be the highest paid player on an annual fucking basis. But anyway, and the Steelers looked interesting. Kenny Pickett actually has promise. I understand his numbers weren't necessarily the most spectacular numbers since sliced bread was invented, clearly. But Pittsburgh has an interesting team. I think now, if everything goes right for them, if they stay healthy for one thing, and if Mike Tomlin does what Mike Tomlin normally does, and that's coach out of beyond his expectations. Steelers have a chance to actually go 12-5 and make the playoffs. And I'll take the Steelers to beat the 49ers. I'm not. And the 49ers should be a good team too. One note on the 49ers though. Holy fucking shit. I don't care. I'm not going to be one of those these whiny crybabies that are saying that Trey Lance didn't get a fair shake, because for one thing, it's fucking bullshit. He did get a fair shake. Kyle Shanahan shrunk the playbook down for Trey Lance, knowing that it was going to take time for him to grow and learn and all that shit. And he didn't get the fuck. And he couldn't even do. And then Brock Purdy fucking happened. And he was picking up the offense way faster than Trey Lance was. That's the real. And keep in mind that the West Coast offense is supposed to be the best offense for the quarterback position. And so the fact that Trey Lance failed, I mean, give me a break. And I don't want to hear bullshit about how he only played 4 games and all that crap. That's not how shit's supposed to go. You shouldn't. I said it before, but I need to say it again. You shouldn't need a full season of games to determine whether a quarterback sucks, sticks for breakfast. That's not how shit's supposed to go. With that being said, take the Steelers to defeat the 49ers. I'm not sure Brock Purdy's the answer either. I will say this. Somebody's head in San Francisco has to roll for this. Someone's got to pay the price for this if the 49ers don't make it to the Super Bowl. Well, it will most likely be John Lynch. All right, moving on quickly. Cardinals going on the road to take on the Washington Commanders. My concerns for the Cardinals are obvious. New coach, new GM. Finally. And the fact that they're competing to be for the number 1 overall draft selection instead of a Super Bowl, which is fine, because I don't think they're definitely not a Super Bowl team. I'm not sure they're a playoff team anyway. And then you have the Commanders. They have a good collection of. They do have a good team around them, and of course, nothing ridiculous happened last year. Nothing big happened with the Commanders this offseason. The Commanders do not have a new owner at all. Dan Snyder's still the guy. Oh, wait a minute. Dan Snyder sold the team for sold the team for over $6 billion. Granted, he has to pay some of that back, dude. The Commanders back, fine, whatever, but still. Okay. Enough about that shit. Like I said, though, the Commanders actually have a decent team. My concern is the quarterback, Sam Howell. Well, he played okay last year, I'll admit, even though he played against the Cowboys team that clearly wasn't fucking trying. And he should have an easier time since they're facing the Cardinals. A team that's projected to be one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NFL last year. So yeah, take the Commanders to defeat the Arizona Cardinals. All right, next up. Late afternoon games. Broncos hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Not that. Yeah. There's Sean Payton makes his Broncos debut. My concern and this is also a battle of which fan base is more delusional and retarded. Is it the Las Vegas Raiders fan base, or is it the Denver Broncos fan base? I'll give the slight edge to the Denver Broncos fan base. But only by this much, because the Raiders fan base is not that much fucking better. No offense to either fan base, and I'm not pointing at fans individually. So fuck off. But I gotta take the Raiders. No, fuck it. God damn it. If I'm wrong, so be it, but I don't even give a flying fuck. This is clearly the cream of the crap for week one. But go ahead and take the Denver Broncos to defeat the Raiders. It wouldn't shock me to see the Raiders beat the Denver Broncos again. In the battle of Josh McDaniels and the NFL's most overrated head coach today in Sean Payton. And I know people are going to cry and whine and bitch at me about that one, but go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit. Moving on. Moving on. Packers going on the road to take on the Chicago Bears. And yes, finally, it is time to see if Jordan Love is the answer to the Packers long term. It is also put up or shut up time for Justin Fields in some ways. Because people are making retarded excuses galore about him, even though he completely sucked last year. Sure, he was great running the football. That's special. So, but he's the quarterback and he's supposed to scan the field and throw the football. Though I will admit, it is nice to be able to move the football with your legs. It should all those passing mechanisms break down. But people need to stop making excuses for Justin Fields because it's really retarded. For one thing, it's not because Justin Fields didn't suck necessarily because he had a shit offensive line, nor was it because they had weapons. I thought Chase Claypool was supposed to be a good receiver. I understand he has bitch made period fits on occasion, but give me a fucking break. Now when people should be focusing on the main reasons why he sucks, which is shitty pocket awareness and not being able to scan the field and his terrible accuracy. That's why he sucked. That's why he's been sucking so far. Okay, it's not other. So I will call the Bears on their bluff though and take the Bears. But it wouldn't shock me to see the Packers win. I think the Packers will be just fine without Rodgers. And next up, Dolphins going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. Last time these two teams met was an interesting matchup with the Chargers winning, and frankly, I expect the same result. I mean, I expect the Dolphins to be to be competitive in the AFC East. Excuse the fuck out of me, but The Chargers got rid of their old offensive coordinator, who's with the Broncos now. Anyway, but yeah, I think Kellen Moore will help Justin Herbert out tremendously. Though I do think Herbert is a tad bit overrated. Take the Chargers to defeat the Dolphins. Eagles going on the road to take on the New England Patriots. Mac Jones regressed hard. Of course, I get it. It's hard. It's really easy to do so when you have a defensive-minded coach calling offensive plays for whatever reason. Sometimes Bill Belichick seems to get in his own way. As great of a coach as he is. And the Eagles, they may have lost a few players on defense, but they regained those players through the draft with Georgia players. Literally, I think they literally drafted Georgia's entire defensive line or whatever the fuck. But anyway, and I do think Jalen Hurts is going to take is going to regress a little bit, but thankfully it doesn't begin and end with Jalen Hurts. It begins with the offensive line and it ends with the defensive line. So I'll take the Eagles to win this game, but it's week 1. Anything can happen. Rams going on the road to take on the Seattle Seahawks. And what a fall from grace from last year. We all know what I'm talking about. The Rams ended up with the worst record by a defending champion in NFL history by winning percentage. And the Seahawks shocked the world by making the playoffs with Geno Smith at quarterback. I mean, that shit. Do I think Geno Smith is the answer long term? Obviously not. However, this Rams team is dog shit, so. Because, like I said, massive fall from grace. Take the Seahawks to defeat the Rams. Cowboys. Speaking of the Cowboys, they go on the road to take on the New York Giants. You can't have a Sunday night. You can't have national television without those two teams kicking off the schedule. Though the NFL was curious enough to wait until week three this time last year, so that was nice of them. And they get a pass this year because like it or not, both teams made the playoffs last year and won playoff games. I'm not a firm believer in Daniel Jones long term, and this Giants team in some ways overachieved as well. Take the Cowboys to defeat the Giants. The Cowboys team is actually really good. And last up on the Monday night game, Bills going on the road to take on the New York Jets. When I looked at that schedule, I thought the Bills were at home first, but I guess not. But that's neither important. Buffalo, of course, and as we all know by now, Aaron Rodgers is with the fucking Jets. A la Brett Favre in 2008. I do think the hype around the Jets is getting a little bit out of hand. And I know that Von Miller is going to be out because he's on the physically unable to perform list. But as long as Buffalo stays healthy and has depth around on their fucking team, Buffalo should be just fine. As far as this game goes, because of the overhype, take the Buffalo Bills to defeat the New York Jets. Because I don't think because I'm sorry, but I don't think that the Jets are ready to shock the world in Week 1. But anyway, let's see what happens when Week 1 of the NFL regular season is all said and done. Till next time, later, fuckers. And I'm sorry, I was way too close, but it is what it is. Good to be back though.